Hi, I'm the mini painting noob, and today I'm just testing a new camera angle. I'll be painting some metallics on my blood red and zealot yellow tops, and just test out this angle and see if it works for you guys. So here we go. What I've done is I've taken some model color silver from Vallejo, and I've painted the back of the blood red cap silver, and I've painted the back of my zealot yellow silver. So testing this camera angle and showing another way of using your caps to identify what colours are inside the bottles, and it gives a good example of what the colours are going to look like over metallic. So I just drop a couple of drops of blood red on my palette here. Now if I pretend that this is a miniature, the way that I would typically paint is I take my brush and get it a little bit wet. I'm just dipping it off the side in my very dirty water. I should probably give that a clean, and then I give it a twirl while I pull backwards just to get most of that water back out again. And be careful that the metal, is it the ferrule of the, I think that's what it's called, of the tip can also get a droplet of water here sometimes, and you definitely need to watch out for that. Make sure that gets dried up. So what I'm going to do now is grab my blood red top, I dip my brush into the paint here and get a little bit on the tip so it doesn't go all the way up. And if this was a mini and very detailed, you don't want that big droplet on the end going straight onto the mini because it will probably be too much paint. So you just dab lightly on the paper to take some of the excess off, and then you can get to painting. And so I would be able to, if I can hold my brush and hand steady, get some detailed paint done. Now in this case I just want it all over the show, and this brush is probably too small for that, but I thought I would give this one a go. See how we can do it. Let's see, so if I do a dab, now let's see if I'm skilled enough. Can I just get it into one of these grooves here? It's a good little test to see how accurate I can be. Here we go. So there's a little bit of over the edges, but it's so small, who can tell? Let's see if I can get an upper one. Maybe if I go crossways and sort of lightly drag the bristles over, and I'm using the tip of the bristles, and it pulls off. Here we go. So there you can do some detail work. I just light dip, dab it on some paper to get off the excess, and then you can do some detail without flooding the mini with paint. Alright, but anyway, let's get to painting. So I'm just going to absolutely cover this thing with red, blood red, and it will act as a good example when I want to paint a mini this colour over metallic. What is it going to look like? And because we're just layering it on, it's going to do the speed paint thing where all of these grooves are going to act like recesses on a figure and collect all of that excess paint and do the shading for me. So those little stripes, the tops of the stripes will have less paint than the recesses of the stripes as gravity does its thing. And it will also go up the top here, and this is a good test for how does the paint react to an absolute flat or curved surface. You can see it's applying really nicely. I'm not getting brush strokes. It's quite bubbly. You'll find that the speed paint does generate a few bubbles. You can normally drag them around and pop them, but they pop themselves over time and don't cause too much of an issue. But here you can see lightly brushing, and I'm getting a really nice sort of candy apple kind of a over this metallic. That colour is just awesome. And if we really want to sort of double up on it and get some really dark areas, we can put some excess over here and sort of have some dark spots, or you can pick it up with the paintbrush and sort of move it around. So yeah, nice test for the blood red. So I'll let that dry. Move on to the Zealot yellow. So just over to the side I have a jar of water. Just giving the brush a twirl, quite a vigorous sort of backwards and forwards. And then back over to the paper, I pull the brush back while giving it a spin. If you can see that, pulling it back while giving it a spin, and that reforms that point. And then again, look, you can see that droplet of water under the ferrule, under that metal. Can't remember if that's what it's called or not. So I need to dry that off. So what you don't want to have happen is you go and put that brush on a mini, and particularly when you're working with speed paints, too much water means that paint will get thinned and will go everywhere. Alright, so now on to the Zealot yellow. Now I'll give you a demo of my mixer here. I've already pre-mixed these paints, but here is a quick demo. So it's a little, you can see that. That's the model number. And I just got this off AliExpress for about 30 bucks New Zealand, 40 bucks New Zealand, something like that. And gently hold it down. And I'd do that for about 30 seconds or so. Make sure the cap is solidly on, and then do it upside down. And I'll do that for about another 30 seconds, and then to just make sure it's all good to go, give it a shake as well. And you can hear those metal mixing balls in there. Alright, so let's get a couple of drops. We probably only need one drop. One drop, two drops, that'll do. Okay. First drop was mostly air bubble. Okay, so on the back of this I have the metallic as well, so we'll do the same thing. Pick up some paint. If we're pretending it's a mini, we dab off some paint, make sure that we've got a nice point, and then it's not a nice point, looks like there's too much paint, but we could go and try and do some detail work, and I didn't do that very well, but it doesn't matter because we're just going to put this all over. I want to see what this paint looks like over metallic. It looks so good so far. Wet paint looks amazing. My kids are home and we moved some furniture around, so they're very excited. But that's fine, this is a test video, so I have 4 kids. The oldest is 18 and living in a converted shed that I made for her last summer. Our summer is December, January, so it wasn't too long ago. And then I've got another teenager and 2 at primary school. They're 6 and 7. So you'll hear my kids in videos because I don't have a big red light saying I'm recording now on my door, so they just wander on in. Let's give that a paint as well because that looked pretty ugly. And let's just layer these up so we get some good highlights on the side, or low lights, or whatever you want to call them. Shade. Some extra paint here so we can see what the deep shadows are going to look like. This one also appeared to apply very well to this flat surface. The metallic makes this flow really nicely, so I like how that is going on. Anyway, so now just cleaning again. So my bottle to the side, vigorous backwards and forwards. I sort of dry the brush off on the side of the cup. How about I show you that bit? Here we go. Alright, carefully without spilling. Here is my very dirty mug of water, and the brush just goes into the ferrule, got the metal in there a bit, and I just very vigorously backwards and forwards. We can spin it around. If it's a dry brush and it's really crusted, sometimes I'll scrape the bottom, but I don't think that's very healthy for your brushes. And then I dab it up the side, remove some of that water. It also sees what colour's coming off it, if there's tons of paint still in there. Backwards and forwards again. I'll do this a few times. Dip, dip, dip. Dip, dip, dip. And then it's still really wet. At this stage, I take it and put it on the paper and twirl while pulling it backwards. And then once I've finished doing that, check the ferrule. Does it have excess water on it? Dry that off. And this brush is ready for painting again. Anyway, that was a quick video on a couple of things. Testing a new camera angle, so let me know whether you like this angle, showing a little bit more detail on how I use my brushes, and also giving you a little tip on bottle tops and how to make them, you know, how to use them better. I mean, there's no point having that as just a straight up white bottle top. You can't tell what colour's in here. So yeah. Cover your tops with metallics or not, and cover over. They look awesome. Anyway, this has been the Mini Painting Noob, signing out. I don't really have an end catchphrase thing, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. I've tried the odd thing, but they're not really sticking, so alright, bye.